Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back to the back of the back of the grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 397 of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing fine. Finally, got done with another work week. At the same time, I'm kind of dead tired right at the moment because I had to do a whole bunch of different cleaning stuff today. Plus, I did a bunch of painting, so I feel extra tired. But at the same point, man, just looking forward to next week. A couple big things are happening, but at the same time, not going to share it with anybody until it's done. So a lot of you guys will look forward to that. But anyway, man, it's just the same old, same old. Been playing a bit of Destiny 2. Been playing a little bit more of that. How about yourself, Tyler?
Doing all right, about the same level of exhaustion. I had to do my daily Monday through Friday job number one grind, and then we're like our peak period right now, so a lot of extra hours, and then work my second job today. Ended up being very long. Usually Saturday's a short day. It's like a 6-hour day. Working. Well, sorry, excuse me, the burps now. Second job didn't get really busy and working a bunch of extra hours there as well. So I ended up being a very long, kind of unfortunate, be a long day. But if just for an idea where I am at the tire level as well, I was googling using Google Maps, and I had to go to a house on Loomis is the name of the street.
Okay.
And I accidentally typed in Poomis. And I caught it, and legitimately, like, about 3 minutes of me hysterically laughing to myself in the car. Like, just the straight, like, wheezing, eyes watering, laughing to myself. And I probably look like a maniac just laughing at my car parked on on the side of the road on some side street. So that's where I'm at in life right now. Is I don't know why, just Poomis. And I was talking to someone. I didn't tell them the story, but I actually referred to it as Poomis at work, and I had to correct myself once again. So now I think for the rest of my life, I will always refer to that street. And it's not too far from me. It's just like a mile up the road. Yeah. So that's where I'm at in life, Poomis.
Well, if you want to hear like a little bit of a funny story before we get into the whole nitty-gritty of our gaming podcast, there is somebody around, well, actually someone that comes around my work, right? Like either it's a disgruntled customer or just a disgruntled person. He's the person that I consider calling, and I do, the serial pooper. Now, as the name suggests, this guy, the past couple of months, has been going around my workplace, and just out of view of our cameras and stuff, right, has been taking a huge dump near our building, leaving, and we don't know who the hell it is. But the last time he did it, we see this white van, right? It stops right out of the field of view from the camera. Now, my workplace, they do have surveillance cameras. They do have it pointed specific places and this and that. But the funny part about it is like my boss, every time that this person does it, has to go out and clean the damn thing up. And it's usually around the same spot. But every time that we have like a white van with no windows, except for like maybe the passenger side and the driver's side doors or something pass by, we're just thinking, I was like, well, there goes the serial pooper again. But yeah, he's still someone we're looking out for, honestly. I just thought I wanted to mention this little funny blurb and stuff that there's actually somebody that goes around my workplace, takes a dump, and then leaves and stuff for people to clean up.
It's like, the serial pooper got us again.
No, what's funny is my coworkers are now, ever since I brought it up, are now just referring to him as the serial pooper. I got my assistant manager saying it's like, oh, well, just watch out for the serial pooper.
It's like the movie Observe and Report. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like it came out probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got Seth Rogen in it. He's like it came out at the same time as like that Paul Blart Mall Cop movie.
Yeah.
But it's like Seth Rogen plays a mall cop, and there's like a serial like the main, it's all a joke, but it's like there's like a guy who goes around like he's flashing the women at the mall in the parking lot, and like it's like they have like it's like I can't remember, they have a name for him, but like he's basically like a serial like flasher, so it's pretty it's got its moments. It's not a great movie, but it's fine. But yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you were telling me about the serial pooper, but yeah. Poomis and serial poopers. That's where we are at in life right now. Everything's coming up poop in this podcast. Not Millhouse, but poop. But
well, you could have just said daisies, but still.
Nah, Poomis. No, poo. Everything's coming up poo. But anyways, this is the Drunk Nurture podcast where we talk mostly about video games and poop. I don't think the poop talk's always going to be there in the background. It's always around, it's always around. It's never fully out of sight. But every week we get together to talk about video games. If you like what you're hearing or you want to support us more, we are on everything that you listen to podcasts on or watch videos, YouTube, all that. We're on them all. So check us out on twitch.tv. We're on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, all those. So like, join, subscribe, follow, 5-star, thumbs up, comments, whatever you can do. Shares is the big one. Whatever you can do to help us out, we really would appreciate it if you go and check us out in those places and do all those things I asked, please. But Gables, it's pretty exciting. We're getting close to that 400 episode mark.
Oh yeah, we are.
We're a few weeks away. So it's 397. So we got 3 more episodes after this one. So pretty crazy. Yeah. But anyways, we're kind of getting into that slower time of the year. I mean, we got the Game Awards in a couple weeks, and I'm sure we'll probably hear some rumors and stuff like that, and all things to get excited about. Like it's like a mini E3, where we get all excited for, and everybody goes crazy. It's kind of like whenever Nintendo announces the Direct like 2 days in advance, we all go nuts and think of everything, and then most of those times nothing like that even happens. But that's pretty exciting. But this week I think it's a slower week, slower time of the year. A lot of the big games are out or about to release, and also a holiday weekend, so a holiday week. So,
oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot to ask, how was your Thanksgiving, Gables?
Oh, you know what? Thanksgiving was pretty damn good, in my honest opinion. At least I got a chance to stay home, enjoy some fun meals. But at the same time, man, it's like I was gaming, just doing my same old stuff. It was actually very relaxing. That and Black Friday, the day after, it was actually rather chill. And I was well enough welcomed that with open arms. Let me just say that.
Nice. Yeah, this year was like our first time having to work on Black Friday in like 8 years. So I've been very spoiled with my jobs about having Black Friday off, because I've had jobs where we've like not to be in like the retail part of it, but just having to work Black Friday, and it sucks. It's just,
oh my god,
like, it's always a skeleton crew. There's never a lot of work to do, and it's just like you just work 3 days, got a day off. Now your whole week's screwed up because you don't know what the fuck's going on. You gotta go back to work for one day.
Yeah.
Always hated working. I've only done worked probably a handful of them in my time, but yeah. I was very confused when I woke up Friday morning. I was very confused when I woke up Thursday morning, and then waking up Friday morning also threw me off, and then waking up this morning has thrown me off. So I'm sure tomorrow will throw me off as well, especially when it's like the Iowa Hawkeyes played Friday.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm at work and the Hawkeyes are playing right now. That's weird. Usually they play on Saturday. What the fuck's going on with that? So yeah, it just kind of throws everything off. Throws it all for a loop. Did you get any cool Black Friday deals or anything?
No, to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't really have much in order to buy any Black Friday stuff. But to be perfectly honest with you, it's like I know that there was some good stuff that was going on, but honestly, my funds have been going elsewhere, and I haven't had any chance to really invest. But I did purchase that Hyrule Warriors game.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so I do have
cool.
that I can play.
Nice. Yeah, I got my copy last week as well. The only thing I picked up was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They had it. So they had a deal in November at GameStop where I didn't notice the thing, but if you spent over $300 in the month of November, you got a $30 coupon off like your next purchase, which I easily surpassed buying a PS5. So I just got a thing about a week and a half ago, and it expired. I think it was like early December. It expired. So I'm like, I gotta use this soon. I'm like, what the fuck do I even want to play? And I was like, oh yeah, I was planning on playing Valhalla anyways, eventually, or getting it eventually.
Yeah.
And what the fuck are my birds doing? They're going nuts in there. I don't know what's going on in there, but okay. Anyways, no, he's still going. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, so sorry about that. I hope you guys can hear in the background. If not, I apologize. Anyways, so I was like, oh fuck, I'll just use it on that. I was planning on buying it probably sometime next year anyways for when I found it for like $30 or $40 or something, and I saw that, and then I was like, oh, I'll pick it up, and then they had for Black Friday they had it for $48, so I'm like, okay, oh fuck, that's even better. So I waited till Black Friday, and then I went and picked it up yesterday, and I didn't even know I had an additional $5 off coupon, so I ended up getting it for like $13.
Nice.
So I'm not gonna play it. I'm not planning on playing it right now. Like I said, the only reason I bought it now is because I had the coupon and all that shit. And there's just nothing else I want to play. And I'm not gonna find it for $13 anytime soon. Yeah. So got that. I got a couple Christmas presents for my family. Some deals, and that's about it. Nothing too big. And I usually don't go too crazy on Black Friday anyways, because typically the games I want to play, I get them like at launch or shortly after launch. So
right.
Yeah, there wasn't really typically not too many games I want to play when it comes up. Like I haven't yet to pick up around Black Friday. So that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy. But like I was saying earlier, not a lot of news this week. But a few small things here. I think they're kind of interesting. I want to start with the first one. We were trying to find some details on this because we both heard about it, but we didn't really know too much about it. But there was people were thinking there's a Metal Gear Rex. You can hear his roar in the Demon Souls remake as possibly a teaser for the next Demon Souls. So we both ended up going on finding some articles about it and watching some comparison videos to the noise people are hearing Demon Souls that think that it's a Metal Gear Rex roar, but as a tease for Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Then we watched the video of the sound of Metal Gear Rex from Metal Gear Solid 1. What was your thoughts when you heard that sound?
To be perfectly honest with you, I think people are just grasping at straws at this point. Because I can understand like how there are some comparisons to where it kind of feels like that towards the beginning portion of, say, the Metal Gear Rex battle that we were watching, and then all of a sudden the sounds going forth with the strange sounds coming from that the hub thing for Demon Souls remaster. I could see the comparisons in some of the tones, but I think people are just stretching it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's kind of way like I had heard about it earlier in the week, and I just hadn't got a chance to or I just kept forgetting to go check out like people were talking about, because I heard about it. I heard it on the podcast, and they didn't really talk too much about it. And it was like they just kind of talked about past. I'm like, whoa, what? That was the first time I heard about it. And went and just now for the show, went and looked it up. We watched it together, and I mean, it sounds like a metal clang, like somebody dropped something in like a church and it just echoed, and then like it doesn't sound anything a roar. It just sounds like the only thing I can find that maybe possibly could tie in, and this is like the biggest stretch in the world.
Yeah.
Is like Metal Gear Rex's stomp, in the original game, is like the closest thing to sounding like anything like that people are comparing the sound to. Like, it doesn't even sound like a roar. It just, like I said, sounds like somebody dropped a wrench in a wide open in a big ass warehouse. Yeah, and that's what it sounds like. So I don't understand the whole like buzz and people going crazy. I think nothing would make me any happier for a video game than a Metal Gear Solid remake. Like that is the thing I want. Like, if any game to be a complete overhaul from top to bottom remake, it would be Metal Gear Solid 1. It's probably my favorite game of all time, if not top 3. So I would love that very much. And when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, that's badass. And I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna go super crazy. And then there was a tweets they put out a couple months ago that I forgot about, and they were in the article about like there was the rumors of them making a Siphon Filter, a Symphony of the Night, and a Metal Gear Solid remake, and they kind of put a series of tweets out, kind of mocking those rumors. It's a series of tweets, like the words in it make no sense, but it's all like they use like have a metal Halloween, or like they use like symphony, they use siphon in the tweets, like in a weird place. Like I said, it's all mismatched, nothing. But yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I hope like if that was their next project, I would be completely excited, because I think not only does Blue Point do a great job, but it would be like I don't feel like anybody can do a remake better of a Metal Gear Solid game than Blue Point at this point. Like I don't trust Konami to do it. I don't trust anybody that they would hire to do it. If Sony was able to get the rights to remake it, there's no way better than Blue Point.
Blue Point is definitely batting 2 for 2 in terms of the quality of remakes and stuff they've been producing. Shadow of the Colossus for PS4 is one of them. Demon Souls Remaster has been getting a lot of good critical acclaim. So honestly, I would be very excited if they were going with, say, a Metal Gear Solid remaster. At this point, it's like it feels like almost any type of game that they go through and make kind of gives the golden touch to it, because they know how to not only emphasize of what made the games great originally, but also emphasize on additional content that makes sense more or less towards the story.
Yeah. Like they have like their games look phenomenal. They find a good way of keeping the original aspects there, but bringing it into a modern time. So yeah, I like I said, I don't trust anybody else probably at this point to do a full remake, and we've seen that. I'm assuming, I know Blue Point isn't a Sony owned studio or PlayStation owned studio, but like it might as well be at this point. But I believe they remade the original, not remade, but they made the remasters of the Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3 games back on the 360 and PS3 days. So they have a history of doing it, and we know that Sony. I believe Demon Souls was. I mean, it's a From Software game, but I believe it was it Namco? No, not Namco. Who was the publisher of Demon Souls?
Oh, the publisher of Demon Souls at the time, I believe, was Atlas, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it Atlas? That sounds right. Yeah, you're right. It's Atlas. Yep. So yeah, I mean, like, they're not afraid to go out and fork out some money to get the rights to do this stuff. So it's just a matter of if Konami wants to play ball or not, which, I mean, like, they literally have to do nothing, just give them the rights to make a great game, and they would make money. So, I mean, we've heard rumors already about them possibly working with getting the rights to make a Silent Hill game and a Metal Gear game. So, who knows?
Those
maybe
two
that's
names
part of the deal.
definitely have been. Those two franchises have definitely been coming up in rumors over the past 6 months. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to get too excited for the fact that we might have a new Metal Gear game or a remake or whatever. But yeah, like there, I don't know what's the saying, where there's smoke there's fire, and sometimes like I'm leaning towards more. If you told me to bet $100 on what you think's going to happen, there's going to be the rumors are true about Konami and Sony working together on something. I'm not going to say specifically anything, but if they're working on something or not, I would say lean more towards yes, they're doing something. But it's like a 55-45 feeling, not like anything super crazy. But I think that's part of me just trying to like keep my excitement in check. But moving on here. So another rumor. So we talked about, I believe it was last week, about the Capcom leak and all the rumors coming out of that and stuff, information we found out. And there was one game called Resident Evil Outbreak, which was scheduled for a Q4 2021 release, so early 2022 would be when this plan to come out. But it sounds like, and this is from Dusk Golem, who's a Capcom insider. He has been a leaker of Capcom games or Capcom news for years. Apparently the game Resident Evil Outbreak, which was the code name for it, is actually Resident Evil Revelations 3. It might not go by Resident. It might be called Revelations 3. It might be called Revelations something else, but it is actually going to be a Switch focused game. So this is a quote from him. I sort of weighed the options. I think long term people believe there's an Outbreak 3, and it's not exist. I think long term people believing there's an Outbreak 3, which people don't remember. There was a PS2 couple games for PS2 called Outbreak 1 and 2, which was those weird 4-player co-op games. They were not good. No. So that was kind of when I heard that code name. I'm like, God, no, please don't give me another Outbreak game. But there's also the rumors that there's gonna be that Resident Evil Battle Royale game. But anyways, so there's an Outbreak 3, and it's not existing may hurt more than help. But I also got 100% confirmation. Outrage is a Resident Evil Switch. It may not be called Revelations 3 when it releases, but in all intents and purposes, and it's a Switch-focused Resident Evil game. Not Switch exclusive though. It's coming to everything. Switch was the lead platform though. I know you know this. Just decided and think it's coming out for the public anyway. So he posted on Reset Era. Revelations 1 was actually a 3DS game that came out in 2015, I want to say. And no, wait, earlier than that, because we talked about that. I talked about it in the first episode of this podcast. So it would have been 2013. Oh no, I'm sorry. Revelations 2 came out in 2015, and that was the weird episodic one, and then eventually came to Switch in 2017. I don't know. I mean, I believe didn't you play Revelations on 3DS?
Honestly, I think I played a little bit of the demo of it, but I didn't really play through the entirety of it.
Okay. I really liked Revelations 1. I played it on 360 back in the day. I remember renting it from Redbox, and had to really, really enjoy the game. It's probably like up until like the last 2 years, I would say it was my favorite, my best Resident Evil playthrough of a game. But it was easily the best Resident Evil game I played since 4, which isn't saying a lot. I think it's better than 5, obviously better than 6. I guess there wasn't really much after that. And there was some weird like mercenary shit, but like of the main of anything with a budget and anybody that cares about Resident Evil games, like it was a very good experience. It was a really, really good game. Like it's not like I don't want to blow it out of proportion. Say it's like a 9 out of 10. It's a solid like 7.5 kind of game. And it was like they did a really good job of bringing it from a 3DS game to a 360 game. It like definitely didn't graphically didn't blow me away, but I really had a lot of fun with it. I liked it. I mean, the story was bonkers bullshit, which that's Resident Evil for you. But yeah, I liked it. Revelations 2 was really disappointing and frustrating. Where it was like broken up into, I believe it was like 3 or 4 episodes, and like each episode came out like I think 1 week apart or 2 weeks apart or something like that. And so I like that aspect where like we have a clear release schedule for these games, and each episode focused on like different characters, but like at the same, like everything ran together, like so everything was happening at the same time, but they all like ended up connecting together at the end, and it was not good. It didn't really work well. And then like they like had a tie in, like like that was the big thing, like up until with 7, 2, and 3, where the remix 2 and 3, where like you had to have 2 players at all times, and like it just didn't work well. It wasn't fun. It wasn't good. Like when you went to play the regular characters was fine, but they all had like a sidekick with them, and there was sections where you had to play with them. And like one section, you're a girl, like a little girl, and you had to do some sneaking shit. It didn't work well. It was like the remnants of Resident Evil 6 kind of shit. But I don't know. It was like a 6 out of 10 kind of game. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And it was I think it was like $30. I don't know, whatever. So anyways, I don't know. Like I'm open to the idea of a Revelations 3. But like Revelations 1 and 2 didn't tie in together at all. I think like a couple of the characters were in there. That was it. There was like the story wasn't connected. So I don't really know why it was Revelations 2 when it had nothing to do with 1. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here, but I would like the idea of like if we can get some good spin-offs of the regular games, I'm all for that. I would love the idea of like more. I mean, I know we were getting a lot of Resident Evil games. Anyways, I think we had 3, and we're about to have 4 in like since 2017. So we're talking about one game almost every year. Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for it. If we can get some good side games, that'd be fun. Like back in the day when we had like Code Veronica, even though that was actually Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil, the actual Resident Evil 3 was the side game, and the titles got swapped around basically. But yeah, I don't know. I'm all for it. I would like the idea of more Resident Evil as long as it's done well. And like I'm not like expecting, especially if this is gonna be a Switch focused game. I'm not expecting like a blockbuster kind of stuff here. I'm not expecting Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, but if we get something close to that, I'm all for it. What about you, Gables?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't mind as long as the game is good. Then, hey, why not?
Yeah, and I think it's very important. Where they've definitely turned around the name of Resident Evil, where the last up until Resident Evil 7 came out, you can argue since 4, it's just been ran through the mud. They were that franchise, that name didn't mean much anymore. And they're like, it was like at that point where like people were raving about Revelations. That's the reason I played it, was because people were raving about how good it was. And like, I mean, and they were raving about it like being like, this is a top tier game. And they like played it. I'm like, this is a very good game. This is not a top tier game. It's a very good game. And like I said, I'm not trying to be the name of Revelations 1. I really enjoyed it. But it was like, that's how I think desperate people were for that game at that point, or that franchise, to have good games where like a game would come out and be a 7.5, and it's just like, we're gonna treat this like a 9 kind of thing, just because you're so desperate and thirsty for something.
What they did too, because after enduring what Resident Evil 6 brought to the table, it felt like a lot of the fan base for RE
Revelations, I believe, came out before 6 even on 3DS. I think it was like a 2011 or 12 game. So it been out for a little bit, but yeah, even still, I mean, at that point, like that's how desperate it was. And then it was like Resident Evil 6 was just like, I think at that point it was like you hit rock bottom. Yeah, it's like we either got to turn this around or just fuck it at that point. So yeah, I'm happy with where the franchise is going, and it's just a matter of just taking care of it. Don't do what they did with after like Resident Evil took off the first time. It's like we got so many side games that were just trash. And then eventually it just bled into the mainline game. So it's like, take care of it, be smart, be safe with it. Don't try to make a quick buck. This is a long-term thing. You can make a lot more money over a decade than you will. You can make a lot of money in a short time, but I think if you're smart and safe with this franchise, you can make a lot more money over the course of a decade doing that. But moving on here. So it's unfortunate we're at that time when anytime something big comes out, especially electronics, they're hard to get, especially now with COVID and stuff like that. It's tough to produce and manufacture, and also the chips that are in this. Pretty much everybody's using the same chips, like the new NVIDIA. I think there's some components in like the new iPhones and like Xbox, PlayStation. Everybody's using these same chips, same materials. So it's hard, and on top of that, they're expensive to make. So obviously, anytime a new console comes out, they're going to sell it fast, no matter what. It could be $1,000. Sony and Xbox can sell for $1,000 a piece. They're going to sell out. That's something we all know. But this time, it's crazier than ever. I don't know. I mean, we don't have numbers right now as far as what sales are. But I don't think we'll have any until probably sometime late January, February when we get to the end. When we get to the end of the quarter talks. I mean, it's just this year is crazier than I believe. I think this generation is a lot crazier than last generation.
Oh yes, of course.
With the scalper situation. Where I mean, a part of that too is where technology is now in 2020 compared to what was that 2013. But one group, scalper group in UK, resold over 3,500 PS5s for profit this month. And on top of that, they claim that on a minimum they made at least $100 or 100 euros in profit per one per console sold. Probably a lot more than that in general. And they also say that here it says, this is the headline, but a UK-based scalper group has said it has no regrets over allegedly reselling almost 3,500 PlayStation 5s consoles for profit this month. So this is from Business Insider here. So Crep Chief Notify is a company, that's the name of the company, is a company compromising thousands of paid members who are said to have used bot software to circumvent online retail queues and automatically purchase PS5s consoles that came in stock. So they charge a fee as well to do all this. So the company has even ran Facebook ads, encourage people to sign up to resell PS5s for an instant. Oh, okay. So they basically you can sign up. This is very weird. Okay. I didn't read this part. I read the rest of it, but not this part. So you can pay a fee to sign up to be their group, so you can sell they sell your shit for profit. Okay, that's weird. It's like that we sell your shit on eBay kind of store stuff.
Yep.
But anyways, they sold over almost 3,500 consoles this month, and they said don't regret it because so this is a statement from the group defending its actions. It's like, however, in a new statement issued by the group, it defended its actions and claimed that many of its members were struggling financially but could now put food on the table thanks to PS5 profits. On Facebook, the group has claimed it's made its users over €2 million in profit to date. Previously, it's predominantly targeted sneakers and sportswear. So this is what they do. They I know like sneakers is like a big thing, especially when Jordans and shit come out. Like that, it's crazy hard. I guess how hard it is to get those pre-ordered and shit and bought. They're posting. There's all these pictures they posted of like people like they have like dozens of PS5s stacked in their house or their garage, showing how many they have to sell. So they at this point sold 3,472 consoles, and they claim that they did this all without bots, but as this all manually. But here's my problem with this. Obviously, one, it's bullshit. I hate the fact that scalpers exist. I don't know. I don't know if it's hard to say because like I don't blame them for doing it. But it's like I think it's horseshit to do that. And you're hearing about like PS5s and shit being sold for $2,000+. And like I don't know if you have the money, I guess. And, I don't know. It's just I have problems with it. It's just I hate the whole idea of it. I have the money. Fuck it, I'll do it. Like I remember I bought my PS5 or PS4, admittedly on eBay about a month after console's launch, but I was able to find mine. Literally cost me an extra $50 to get mine because people were like put it on there and trying to put it on eBay for like 3 minutes, and I'd watch them go up to $800-900, and they were $400, and I ended up buying mine for I think it was like $440. So I paid a little bit more to get mine. At that point, I got lucky. Basically, I was literally the only person that bidded on a PS4, and I got mine. Yeah, I don't. I hate it. It bugs me. And it's like, cool. You do it all manual. You're not doing bots. You're doing it all legit. But it's like, I hate the idea of like, we're putting people in our group are struggling financially, and it's putting food on the table. I'm sorry if you're able to buy almost 3,500 PS5s at 500. I mean, I don't know how much it is. 500 euros. 600 euros. Oh no, wait. They're selling it at a standard. Okay, so yeah, 600 euros. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going through this article again as I'm talking. you're buying those at 3,500, almost 3,500 consoles at 600 euros a piece. You're not struggling if you're able to buy that many fucking consoles at a time. I know it's not just one person, probably hundreds of people doing it, but to have the money, if you're struggling, how do you have the money to fucking buy these things in the first place to resell them at a higher price? Unless you have like some crazy credit card limit. Like, and if you have a crazy credit card limit, you probably have a decent chunk of money. You know, like unless you're only able to buy a few and then flip them and then pay your credit card off and have a few. But I don't know. It just, I don't know. I hate when that statement of like we're struggling financially and it's putting food on the table. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say, well, get a better job then, because I hate that statement. I hate when people say, oh, get a better job then, or whatever. Fuck off. It's not that easy. But it's like, if this is your life and this is how you make money, I think it's shitty. I think it's a shitty way. I mean, obviously there's worse things to do. You know, you could be selling fucking drugs on the streets. That's worse. But it's in the legal world, this is really shitty. I hate it. It bothers me. And I know it's like, you know, first world problems kind of shit. And I have a PS5 and I'm happy with that. I was able to get mine legit. I talked about that in the past already. But I don't know. It drives me nuts. I hate that. Like when I'm trying to help I'm like, I have a bunch of friends trying to buy PS5s right now. And I'll send them links. I'll try to help them out. And they can't get them. And they're trying to do it the right way. And it's like they'll go in, they'll wait 60, 70 minutes in a virtual line on the website. And it sells out. Or they go on and it sells out in 30 seconds because bots. And it's like, fuck you guys. Like, not my friends, but fuck you guys that do that shit. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's what better way to do it. Like, you know, other than having 10 million PS5s and Xboxes at launch. But I don't know. The whole thing, it just pisses me off. What about you, Gables?
All right. Let me begin by saying this. Regarding the statement and that Robin Hood type bullshit, I'm just going to say what it is. It's pure bullshit. If you can afford to buy that many PS5s and scam so many people doing so, then you got a lot of fucking nerve going through with all the shit that you're doing. I'm seeing pictures online of these sellers, especially the ones in that group specifically, having, I kid you not, like living rooms stacked with 50 to 100 PS5 systems. I am angry at fucking retailers that don't give a shit about limiting these sales one per transaction or even with a verified ID purchase.
Yeah, like I want to know more about that side of it. Of like, is there a way to stop this? And I gotta imagine there's probably I think it's one of those things though where they find a way to stop it, and then one more pops up. It's like pulling weeds.
Here's the thing. Yes, there are ways to stop it, but at this point, for the people that have the power to stop it, they are not doing so. So I do definitely blame retailers, and I do definitely blame Sony, and to a certain extent Microsoft as well, for not handling this the correct way that it should have been. Not Microsoft, but Sony has already went on record in saying that the PS5 has had the biggest launch that it's had for any other PlayStation system. Well, yeah. I wonder why. Maybe it's because of a lot of the fucking bullshit that these groups are going through and scalping all of their fucking most of the stuff.
I disagree with that part because I think these even like only one household got this per person. Like there was scalping didn't exist, they would sell it regardless.
Well, yeah, that's true.
There's enough people out there that will want these things in the world that they would have sold out. So it's like same with the Xbox. You know, like the Xbox claim that that the Series S and X is the best console launch ever. That's always the case. Every time a new console comes out, they break all the records because there's more gamers than ever before, and there's more consoles than ever before. So.
But one thing that cannot be denied here is these scalpers are preying upon the FOMO of all the people that want this PS5 system by the holidays. They are preying on the weak-minded because going through eBay, checking out the things that have sold, there are literally consoles going for $1,000. There is one that sold just today, not even an hour ago, for $10,000.
I believe that.
$10,000 for a disc-based PS5 with the controller, with camera, and one of the first comments on this thing after this thing sold is like, why in the hell It's like, why in the hell are you even doing this? Do you have that much money to waste to spoil your kids? I'm just paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But the fact that people in this environment, in this COVID-laden environment, are pretty much thinking, or pretty much getting like scammed in the sorts where they're going to be paying 2-3 times the amount just for a luxury item is fucking bullshit. I honestly don't have any more words in regards to that, but it's just this whole aspect of this whole scalping stuff. You know, I understand it goes on every console launch. It did for the PS4, did for the Wii, it did for like other types of stuff where people bought up a huge sum, marked them up on the market. But it's even worse now, like you were just saying, Tyler. Because a lot of the retail stores don't even put them inside the damn stores because they mark them as online only. And those get fucking sold to the scalpers. That's what pisses me off. Because anybody, any Joe Schmo that wants to walk into a Walmart or wants to walk into a Target, they cannot get their system that they want, that they've been saving literally months in order to buy on that specific, like, you know, that specific launch date or launch month, because of dipshits like these scalpers. And honestly, I don't really see too much of a solution to this other than the fact that both Sony and Microsoft release more systems that overflood the market, and they somehow make it inside stores. You know, that's kind of what I feel like it's going to lead to.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree that the FOMO thing is real. You know, it's like, do I need a PS5? No. Does anybody? I mean, honestly,
No.
I mean, does anybody need one? No. But I mean, for like the games that I want to play on it, like you can play them on the last generation consoles. Like I get that, I know that. It's definitely you know, you want to be the first, not so much first, but you want to have the new thing. You know, and I fully admit that. Like, I've multiple times now saw like Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, is up for pre-order or up for purchase right now, and like I'm on Twitter, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, and I just go and look, and I have it in my cart, and God knows if it would actually go through once I actually went through the process of putting all my shit in and buying it. But I've had multiple times opportunities where I could have had them, and I woke up yesterday and like I was like oh, I'll go to GameStop before work and just get Valhalla instead of doing it after work. And they were saying every store had PS5s and Xbox, the new Xbox Series X. Each GameStop had a handful of each. And I went there last night after work, and I was talking to him like, you know, I could have had one basically when I talked to him, but he's like, I'm like, hey, how many did you get? And he's like, well, we had 3 PS5s and we had I think he said like 7 Series X's. And he's like, I'm like, how long did those last for? He's like, oh, like the PS5 was gone like 10 minutes. The Series X lasted about an hour. I'm like, fuck, I could have came in as soon as you guys opened and actually left with one. Yes, I could have had one yesterday. But I was just like, you know, I woke up yesterday morning. I was like, a little bit of time before I had to go work. And I was just like, and you want to think about it. I'm like, well, A, I didn't want to get up. You know, I was being lazy. But B, it's like, I don't need one. You know what I mean? It's like, especially if I had a PS5, I probably would have done it. But like, just to have a new console in that generation. But right. I don't know. It definitely is a FOMO thing. It really is. But I mean, that's just technology in general. It's just like, you know, like it's kind of cool to have the new hotness. You know, it's nice having the PS5. I like looking at it. It's gigantic and crazy looking, but you know, it's like me wanting to have a Switch at launch. You know, it's like Breath of the Wild, the one big game at launch, other than 1-2 Switch. It was coming to Wii U, but it's like everybody want to play on the Switch. Like nobody remembers the fact that was a Wii U game. You know. And I feel like we'll probably look the same way like Miles Morales and stuff like that too. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Like it's crazy that we allow this to happen. Like as gamers, you know, it's like we go nuts and crazy. It's like there's no need for it. It's like, but it's the downside. I think it's especially the downside of releasing so close to the holidays, where it's like, you know, kids want the new. I mean, and we get that as kids. Like we all wanted the new thing at, you know, that year it came out. I remember getting a DS for Christmas right after it came out, you know, when I was a kid, or getting the Game Boy Color even like that year it came out. Like the same thing, you know, especially, you know, when kids, they want the new big thing, especially if like, you know, it's like you want to play the new thing on there, and also you can tell your friends about, hey, I have the new thing, and it's cool to say. And I get that, you know, as parents, it's like you want to do what you can for your kids, but yeah, It's fine. It's just I don't know. I don't know who's. It's a chicken and egg thing where it's like we allow this to happen. It's shitty, but it's shitty that people take advantage of the situation and do it. But moving on to our last topic here, Gables. So Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, we were talking about it earlier. We both have it. Is now the best-selling game, best-selling Muso game of all time. It's selling over 3 million copies in the first 4 days of release. So I don't know what the original record was. I want to see if I can find it. It's just no, it doesn't actually say. Yeah, no, it doesn't say. I was kind of hoping it just says that it outsold other really good selling games like Fire Emblem Warriors, which I believe they have the sales numbers out for that one. It was a little over 1 million on the Switch. I have no idea what Hyrule Warriors, the original one, did. I know it was way less than 1 million on the Wii U, and I don't think it sold super duper well on the 3DS because it just flat didn't run very well on 3DS. But yeah, so anyways, it came out last Friday. So by Monday, it had already sold over 3 million. So I think that's awesome here, but it's also on the heels of, like Breath of the Wild coming out and being one of the most beloved games of all time, especially last of the decade. And the fact that it looks just like it. It's got the same art style, all the same assets, and that it's supposed to fill in those gaps of basically what happened 100 years ago in Breath of the Wild. So I don't know. I think that's awesome. I would definitely like to have a Hyrule Warriors 3 of some sort. I don't know what it would be, but what about you, Gables?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm glad that it's sold the amount that it has, because these style of games, these Muso style of games, man, they're very fun. Even though the small time I've had a chance to play with the new Hyrule Warriors game, I have enjoyed the combat immensely. I mean, going through the first hour or so of the game and playing a little bit as Link and Impa, I gotta say though, I mean, I really love the aspect that the combat feels smooth. The animation stuff, it looks fine as well. I mean, the whole Breath of the Wild style in and of itself looks good. At the same time, I'm so amazed how they were able to get that Breath of the Wild engine just running with the Hyrule, the whole freaking Dynasty Warrior style combat that is so familiar over the years for people. And I gotta admit, it's like I can see why. I mean, Zelda, great, is one of the more popular IPs and stuff from Nintendo. So this one being the best selling game inside of the whole Muso style of games is no surprise. Really.
Cool. Well, speaking of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, moving on to what we've been playing. We both bought it. We both had a chance to play it. I'm kind of curious, how far along into this? How much time you spent with it?
To be perfectly honest, I haven't spent a hell of a lot of time playing it. I've played it in handheld mode on my Switch Lite. It definitely feels good in handheld mode. I didn't really notice a lot of hiccups or anything from, like I said before, the initial hour that I have played of it. I haven't noticed any type of chugging. I haven't noticed any type of stiffness in terms of the controls. As a matter of fact, it's like what I was stating previous. The controls feel smooth, really responsive. Going through and playing as Link, he's a little bit more of a balanced character, where Impa, she feels like one of those speedy type of characters that you play where you can combo into specific patterns with a group of enemies with her her ninjutsu sort of stuff, where she has clones of herself and stuff, and you get so many clones on the field until you press the A button. It does this big old colossal attack and stuff to get all the enemies on the field, just all this and that, But I have fairly enjoyed the experience I have been playing. I mean, if not for the fact I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2, I'd be really hook, line, and center playing this game. But yeah, I am enjoying what I'm playing. What about yourself?
So I have beaten the game.
Oh, hell. There you go.
Yeah. So I have a lot of feelings about this game.
Okay.
I talked about it when they announced it. This was my most anticipated game for the rest of the year. And I love the original Hyrule Warriors. And even went back and started playing again after they announced the game, and went back and had a blast. I only played for another hour or two. But went back and had a blast. I'm like, oh, this game's so good. And I loved the original one because it was just basically like, it really was like, just like, this story is batshit crazy. I mean, it's not like the story is not like top tier or anything, but it's just like, it's just basically just like, we're just finding ways to like get all your favorite stuff from the history of Zelda.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was like, it's a history of Zelda, and we're just like throwing these all together in a hodgepodge of like, here's some cool, like, here's a Skyward Sword level, here's the Ocarina of Time level, blah blah blah. Then they add some stuff later on where they announced, like, they put like some like Wind Waker stuff into it. It was great. It was a good time, and in like a Hyrule in a Dynasty Warrior style, and it was a blast. Had a fun with it. It was better. It was way better than it had any right to be. I'm going in this one, the fact that we're getting a new Hyrule Warriors was exciting, but also the fact that it's going to fill in those gaps of of like that 100 like of Breath of the Wild 1. We'll talk about what happened 100 years ago. And sorry, I'll talk about that spoiling, but how do I want to talk about this? The story is very misleading, on the verge of like outright fraud, is how I put it. And I kept playing the game almost entirely off of like, I want to see where the story goes. Not in like, I'm really enjoying this story, just like how far, like are they really doing this? They're actually doing this. Oh my God, this is happening. They're really doing this. Okay, they did this. So if you are playing I don't want to spoil stuff. If you're planning on playing this game because you want to see what happened with Breath of the Wild, like that backstory, don't do it. It's not worth it for that. It's bullshit that the story is for that. The story is, if you take it out of that idea, it's okay. But I feel like that was their big push for this game, was like, hey, it looks like Breath of the Wild, and it's going to fill in those gaps. And it's a very, like I said, misleading on those facts of like what they're doing with that. That aside, the game, this is what should be a 10-hour at most campaign, is actually like a 20+ hour campaign.
Huh.
And it feels very much like, you have leveling systems. Like, there's so many cool things to do with it. I feel like, where like, you have like different, they do some cool stuff with like your 4 main powers, like the magnesis and stuff like that, where like they actually work the way they would work in Breath of the Wild for the most part. They have the paraglider. All the characters are back. Like, they do some cool aspects of that. They make a lot of those aspects work in this game like you wouldn't think they would. And it's little cool nods you find throughout the game while playing, especially if you pull them more time in the levels and not just go straight through them and do the you actually take your time, go around and explore the levels you're in. There's some cool like little nods that they do. But it, like I said, if especially the latter third of the game, it's just like you do the enemies become very repetitive. You see they do a decent job of adding new enemies, and just when you get kind of tired of those enemies, they throw some new ones in. But about a third of the way through, they just stop adding new characters in. And it's kind of like it's my pet peeve in video games. And there's a lot of great games that have done this. I love Uncharted 2, and I've always talked about like that last third or maybe quarter of the game feels very much just tacked on, where it's like you're just throwing waves of enemies at me. You're not adding anything new, and that's kind of how I feel about this, where it's like there's 20 main missions to the game, and I would argue that around 12 or 13 they just stop adding enemies at that point, and it's just the same. There's some cool enemies they throw in, some fun little surprises that they throw in, and then they're cool to fight there that first couple times, and it's like then they kind of go to the well a few too many times, and they keep throwing them at you again. It's like this was a really cool thing that should have been maybe in here once, maybe twice, and now I'm doing it for the 4th or 5th time. And there's just like, especially the last like few levels, where it's just like we're just gonna throw a shit ton of them at you. Have fun. And it's like, this is no longer fun. It's like I figured out, especially in a game where you just tap the Y button a million times and then occasionally every fifth Y you throw in an X. That's what Dynasty War games are. I'm not trying to badmouth that. Like, I don't give a shit about Dynasty War games. I like these ones because it's Zelda. You know, like if they made a Metal Gear Warriors game, I'd probably play the shit out of it too. Yeah, I don't know. I just did, and then, I don't know. Like, I like some of the, like, at first when I played the demo, I played a bunch of time in that demo, and there's like little like side missions you could do to like level at, you know, to grind out, get your levels up, unlock all of like the food and the items you need to upgrade. You can upgrade you can open up new shops, or you can upgrade your weapons, or you can use these to upgrade your characters, things like that. After a certain point, you realize you have to do these things. They're no longer like a side thing you have to do. Like, you have to do these things because you will not hit the level of the recommendation that they recommend you do to go into these main missions. And I'm happy I grinded heavily early in the game, because when I got later in the game where I'm like, all right, I just want to beat this game. I no longer want to do, like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I absolutely don't want to do any more of the side stuff. I just want to fly through the game. Like, I'm happy I over leveled early so I could just coast through the rest of the game. But that being said, minor spoilers, but a tip for people that I highly recommend: do not put a lot of you can combine your weapons together to upgrade the one weapon you're using while you're playing the game. Do not put a lot of resources into your main weapon for Link until you get the Master Sword, which you get the Master Sword about a third of the way through the main game. And honestly, I would say don't bother grinding too much before you get the Master Sword as well, because once you get the Master Sword, it makes a drastic difference in how powerful you are. It's just 10 times more powerful than anything you can do with the main weapon you're using before that. And also, my plan was, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking put a bunch of resources into this weapon, and then when I get the Master Sword, because I knew I was gonna get the Master Sword eventually, because it's a Zelda game, but I was like, I'm gonna combine that into my Master Sword. Not gonna happen. Something happens, and you're not able to do that. You basically just lose the sword. So I put a shit ton of rupees and resources into making this weapon powerful, and then I lose it. And you don't do anything. You just lose it. So I would recommend, if able, don't put too much resources into it, and wait to grind until after you get the Master Sword, because it will make the all those side missions you can do where it's like kill 500 enemies in 3 minutes or whatever. Wait to get that, because
okay.
It makes them a lot easier. Go ahead.
So basically what you're telling me is, focus upon the main missions. Don't go ahead and focus on the side missions until after you get the Master Sword.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do you can upgrade your enemies by adding combos or adding bonus hearts. Like, do those. And if you need to do a little bit of grinding, don't go ahead and do it. But if you're the type that wants to over level or put a bunch of time into the side missions, especially the Link focus ones, wait until
but with all the other characters, I'm pretty much good, right?
Yeah, you can do those ones. You're fine on those ones. And that, I don't know. It's some of the characters are just not good. Like, Impa is really good. Impa was probably she's probably my third favorite character. Rivali is my second favorite character to play as. I had a blast playing with him. That's not really spoilers. That's stuff they talked about in the original trailers for this game. It was like playable characters. There's Hestu, the poop guy, the guy that gets you give the cork, the cork guy, dude. Yeah, he's a playable character. I fucking hate him. He is awful to play as. He was like the one character I did not pay any attention to. I did a couple side missions with him, and I'm like, fuck this. He is just a terrible. He's like a joke. He's like the Pichu of this fucking game. He's a joke character. He's terrible to play as. It's awful. Don't do it. Just don't play as him. He's fucking awful. Don't use him in any of your missions. He sucks. He's worthless. He's awful. Fuck him. He can burn in hell for all I care. He is the anti-Tingle. Fuck him.
The anti-Tingle.
He's suck it. That's where I'm at. Fuck that guy. But that was part that kind of started breaking me. Was like, because at that point I was like, I'm doing all the side missions as they pop up. It's like the Master Sword mission where I'm like, oh, I should have just waited to overlevel, and then being irritated about the fact that I lost my one weapon I put thousands of rupees in and tons of my swords into, combining into that one for nothing. If then I get Hestu, that was like, fuck this. I did very little side missions just to keep up with like the level. I think like the last level they recommend you be at level 57, and I was like 55. So, and also plan on spending a lot of, because you can spend rupees to raise your levels for the other characters, and you can raise those levels up to whoever so like say Link is level 50, you could bring all those other characters up to level 50 with rupees. You can pay money to have them and save you time on grinding. But honestly, there's the amount of side missions you have to do for each individual character. There's not enough to, without doing side missions multiple times or main missions, like replaying them over and over again. If you're into that, that's fine. But if you don't want to do those things, and save, like, you either have to replay missions over and over again to get your level up for some of those side characters, or pay money, even if you just do each side mission as they pop up for each character. So I did a decent amount of them at first, and then after a while, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm putting all my rupees into raising the levels of my characters up to like just to be decent in these last few levels. But I ended up playing through it. Like I said, like I think the biggest issue I have is this kind of game for me personally. Like I said, I'm not a Dynasty Warriors fan. I'm not, that's not my thing. I like this game because it's Zelda. And I like the original. I think Hyrule Warriors was great. I love it. And I look back on it fondly because it didn't overstay its welcome. This is not a game that should be, this is a 10-hour game at most, I feel like. And this game, like, my final save was just over 21 hours. And that's what, like I said, like I stopped doing side missions probably 10 hours in. I'm like, I gotta be close to the end here. And I looked it up and I'm like, I am halfway. Maybe. I think I was like on mission. I just beat mission 9 or 10, and I was just like, I've got to be about done. And I was kind of looking, and I was like, oh my god, I have. There's 20 missions. I'm nowhere close. I'm like, fuck. And it's because at that point, I was like, I'm ready. Okay, I'm like, I can only hit Y so many more times. I was like, I don't know. I really enjoyed the game. I did. I just have a lot of problems with the advertisement, how they sold this game, because it's bullshit, and also, it's too much of a good thing, and it just becomes a bad thing after a while. But that's me personally, just because, like I said, I'm not a Misu fan or Mishu, whatever the fuck how you pronounce it, fan at all. Like I like this game because it's Zelda, and that's it. So yeah, like I checked out the Fire Emblem game, the Fire Emblem Warriors game a few years ago, and I was like, I have no interest in Fire Emblem games. I was like, no, it's not I don't like Dynasty Warriors games. I just like the Zelda game. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't know. Like I said, I have a lot of mixed emotions about the game. Like there's aspects like I love, but it's just like I said, this game for me was twice as long as it should have been, and really, if I played it the correct way, 3 times longer than it should have been for me. But if you're someone that likes these games, likes these style of games, and keep playing through them, you'll probably love it. But if you're going to this looking for I want to know what happens to that story of Breath of the Wild, don't do it because it's bullshit the way how it all works out without trying to spoil anything. Anything else, Gables, you played?
Yes, actually, like I was saying beforehand, I have been playing more of Destiny 2. Destiny 2, like I said previously, I did go through the initial expansion for Beyond Light with my Titan. I have completed a whole bunch of different types of objectives and stuff. Beat Aramis, the head of like the Kill of Kills for the Fallen and stuff. I have been getting so addicted in terms of certain exotic quests from this expansion. It's been kind of ridiculous. And I'll give you a good case in point. There is an exotic sword inside of Destiny 2 called the Lament. Listeners listening into this right now will know what I'm talking about if they're Destiny 2 fans. This sword is fucking broken, and in a good way. This sword takes down certain champions and certain bosses I kid you not, in not even like 10, 20 seconds. This thing is so overpowered in terms of the expense. But I will say that this way. The process of getting that sword, man, it was actually kind of challenging in that regards. Because I had to do a little bit of collecting resources by defeating certain enemies here, going back and forth between like playing a little bit of a back traveling back and forth, kind of like any other type of mission in Destiny where it tells you initial how many steps you got to go through before you complete a mission. But for the Lament, it's basically you had to go this, you had to go to this one person, then you had to do some resources and stuff. I'm simplifying it just for sanity's sake, but finally getting this exotic sword and going into places, say like the Crucible, and like going, not the Crucible, but going to like the Gambit and other strikes, and then just laying waste to these high level like these high level fucking like Fallen, Hive, Scorn stuff. It feels so good. You basically got like a whole like big old primeval inside Gambit, right? You take out the freaking the like subsidiary like bosses, you know, that you have to defeat before the main boss, and you're doing it like in about a couple hits before going into the main boss. It just feels freaking good. There is a glitch that my friends and I discovered with this sword, and not just with the Lament, but with swords in general, because the same thing happened when I tried the Falling Guillotine. What happens is I can just do a short hop and hit my and keep on attack with my sword without any ammo, and it does the same amount of damage that it would with if I had ammo in my gun, in my sword. I have taken advantage of that in Gambit. It is fucking broken at this point, but at the same time, it's fucking hilarious to be able to do that with no ammo. Basically, you're not supposed to do any type of damage with your sword if it doesn't have any ammo in it. And I'm able to do that type of stuff. But there are other things in Destiny 2 that I have been doing. Now, barring the exotic quests, one night my friend and I were like, okay, let's go ahead inside of the EDZ, and let's see if, just do a little bit of things here and there. So, while in the middle of doing something, my friend discovers there's like this hole or something like that we can go and look into, that, like a hidey hole, so that we can go and see where it leads to. Well, the hidey hole, we drop below, we fall out of the map onto this one ledge, and both of us are exploring the biggest amount of empty space imaginable. And I have a bunch of photos that I had taken of, not just photos, but also videos as well, of me inside of the environment, right? Walking to and fro, seeing guardians up above. So I'm seeing other players, and I'm shooting my gun outside the geometry, shooting up, and I'm seeing the other guardians are walking around like thinking, where the fuck did that come from? Like, what the hell? And they're just like standing there like, what's going on? And my friend watching on as I'm like stuck inside the environment or something, inside like certain lost sectors and stuff, and you just see me, my horns of my character just sticking out with my gun or my sword sticking out, and then when I do like a shield or when I do this and that, everything's all sticking out. But it was cool because before then we hadn't found any type of glitching exploits to where it allowed you just to transverse like almost the entire out of bounds area of a specific part of the EDZ. And like I was stating before, the photos that I posted onto my Instagram and stuff, that was just basically me just having a fun time screwing around with like my friends and stuff, and oh my god, just the whole random shit of just discovering what type of ledges we can climb upon, what in the hell goes on this and that way. We were discovering things, like I said, like assets from like specific creatures to like tricking the AI, getting to spawn points for enemies and stuff, and the enemies looking at you is like, well, I see you, but I can't attack you because there's an invisible barrier. But there was that. Oh, and this past week I decided to play through nearly all of the Beyond Light expansion again, the main missions, with my Hunter. And I'm happy to report my Hunter at this point is almost exactly the same light level as my Titan. So my Titan right now is at 1230. My Hunter's at 1224. the supposed like soft cap, I believe, for the with this current expansion, the current light level is 1230, but the pinnacle level can go all the way up to like from 1230 all the way up to 1260. And that's the initial level where you're supposed to be at when you try to go through things like raids and this and that. But there are some missions that you can do, say for Lost Sectors, or even for like some Nightfall missions, where you can increase the level difficulty to so much that you can actually increase it to about 1280. And the thing about Destiny 2 that I've noticed is you could be like about 20 light levels down, and you can still go through a specific mission. It's not going to lock you out or be incredibly difficult. But if you go into an incredibly, like, let's say, for example, if you're like, say, 50 to 100 points, like a light level down, and you try to go into certain missions, you're going to struggle heavily. And that's because bosses will be almost one-shotting you. They'll have like the sort of like that icon. I think Tyler can remember this too from playing Destiny, where you have the icons where the guys are like, you can't even see their light levels. You can't even see their levels at all.
Oh, yeah. I do vaguely remember those, yes.
Yeah, the red like type of crossbones and this and that. But I also made a discovery, too, in regards to the latest change that they did once Beyond Light dropped. They changed a couple of trophies inside of Destiny 2's trophy list. So before, it had the option to do the Leviathan raid and also the Leviathan raid, which is like basically the raid that it launched with, along with the Prestige one, which is the harder version of that. They have since replaced both of those trophies since they became unavailable since they took that content out, them being Bungie. And in its place, you have to, basically, it's more or less generalized to where you have to do a Nightfall, right? But you have to do it on the Master difficulty. And the second one is like you have to do it on the Grandmaster difficulty. And so I got interested and I looked at it. I looked at what these light levels are and everything else and how difficult they are. Oh my gosh, there's a long list. Once you get it to like Master, it tells you specifically why this thing is difficult or why it's that way. Because there are certain enemies that'll have, say, overshields. You need like something that'll do like anti-barrier type of damage or like piercing damage. Or some will have like constantly regenerating health, and so you need a weapon of some form that'll do like disruption damage and stuff. But quintessentially, there are like more handicaps, quintessentially, that are in place when the higher up you get. But the payoff for all this is you will earn rare drops more commonly if you go up in higher difficulty. So for example, Tyler, you have a Nightfall mission where you can play it on Adept, right? Which is basically kind of like, at this point, 1180. Rarely you'll get like maybe an exotic engram drop or an exotic weapon drop or whatever. Now, if you go on to, say, a Master class, those are common. So if you were to accomplish that with, say, a fire team of like with 2 other people, you could get some of the rarest drops commonly in that regards. But for the price of having to endure like almost a slog that you have, like, it's basically you completing something on hard mode or really hard mode and then getting the benefits from that. So that's like one of those things what I may want to tackle future wise. But at this moment, I want to get my characters up to like a maximum level. Because before, when I played Destiny originally, I created 3 characters. My Titan, my Hunter, and my Warlock. So I'm using my 3 same characters that I had when I initially started playing the original Destiny. So that's a little fun little thing where I'm using the same characters that I played as back around 2014, I think, when I first started playing Destiny originally. But another funny thing about it, not about this, but like the whole quest to get the Lament, that exotic sword. My friend and I were doing like a mission or two like after, and randomly I get an exotic drop, an exotic engram things. There's a low percentage of you doing so, but what's hilarious about it, I get another exotic sword called the Black Talon. It actually threw me for a loop. It was really funny because here I am, I complete this big old quest and stuff to get like an exotic sword, and all of a sudden, like not even like 10, 15 minutes later, I get another exotic sword randomly through a drop. And the funny part about it is not long after that, I got the catalyst for it, which, for those that don't know what a catalyst is basically something that you equipped onto an exotic weapon where you get to complete a specific thing that you have to do in order to master the ability of the weapon that you have. I have to admit though, the black talon, it's a fucking cool sword. It's quintessentially has like kind of a rose like design on the blade and of itself. It launches projectiles and stuff, so not only is it a sword, but actually launches these waves of like energy or something towards enemies and stuff. So I decided to give that to my hunter, considering that one, she does need like some more powerful weapons, and two, I already have the lament on my Titan, so I can spread that around. And that's the most beautiful part about it with Destiny 2 is like all my characters that I create are launched onto one account. So for all the legendary shards I collect, all the other resources I collect, and even like weapons that I collect. So any type of exotic weapons, I could just go through and shift between character to character, and they'll have access to it. And I could do that really easily, say on the Destiny like companion app and this and that too. But the main thing I took out of this week is I am having so much fun going through specific adventures and accomplishing certain stuff almost on like a daily routine, to where I'm getting more powerful and I'm starting to appreciate more of the adventure in terms of how to acquire these rare ass weapons and actually have fun while doing so, because it actually feels like an accomplishment. You know, it's not like, okay, I'm going to pay this much and stuff like that in order to earn this. No, it's more or less like me going through the rigmarole, earning these powerful broken-ass weapons, and then using these powerful broken-ass weapons and all these modifiers to make them even stronger. I feel satisfied with Destiny 2 right now, and that's something I did not think that would happen the beginning portion of this year. So that's it for me for games.
All right, well, very cool, man. I'm glad you're still enjoying that one. Especially like new content.
Yeah.
The only thing I think I played this week is Astro's Playroom. I went ahead and I ended up playing through the whole game by accident.
Oh, tell me about that. That actually looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, like it's the free game that's pre-installed on everybody's PS5 when you get them at launch. It's really just more of a tech demo of what the the haptic feedback and the rumble and the PS5 is really just a tech demo, really what it is. But it's quietly like a really fun, good game. Like I would like, that's why I was texting back and forth with Justin a little bit, and I was talking to him and I was just like, I would much rather have I only played the first last week I said I only played the first few levels of a Sackboy, and I was like, I would much rather have a full game of Astro's Playroom than I would of Sackboy. Like Sackboy seems fine so far. Like I need to get deeper into it. I heard it gets better as you get. Obviously I'm always like I said, I'm still in the tutorial parts of it. I'm still learning about the game, but Astro's Playroom, there's only 4 levels, and I had a blast with it. Like I was just like, I turned my PS5 on, and I was like, I'm gonna check it. I need to sit down and play some Sackboy here. And I was just like, I want to try out this Astro's Playroom. I didn't really give it a chance, and I ended up playing through like all 4 levels. I played the first level, had a blast with it, and I it's last Sunday, so I watched football for a little bit, and then I jumped back in for a little bit, and I ended up beating the last 3 levels like back to back, and each level is probably about half an hour or so, maybe. So it's probably about a 2-hour game, maybe a little bit more if you want to make more of it. There's like a lot of cool side stuff you can do to it. It's a 3D platform, it's like it's got that old school 3D platformer stuff. There's a lot of collectibles and stuff like that if you want to get deep into it. And I was like, said something just before that. I said something just. I'm like, hey man, if you check out Astro's Playroom, like the game is really, really good. He's like, yeah, it's my second platinum I've ever had. So that tells you how much Justin liked it. He went through it and played everything, collected everything in the game. Yeah, I completed it, got everything in the game, which is awesome. I didn't like it that much, but I really like that says something about Justin when he's the only other platform he actually had, or platinum he has is the Walking Dead Season 1, which you get just for beating the game. And I have that one too. Like half of my platinums are just beating Telltale games. So yeah, like I thought that was pretty awesome that he went ahead and got that. That says how good that game actually is, and I had a lot of fun with it. Like it's a really, really good tech demo. It's a lot of fun tech demo. Like I would say it's on par. I honestly with Wii Sports. Like I don't think I mean obviously it's not gonna be the thing that takes off like Wii Sports, really sold the Wii on what it could do. It's not that it's not gonna do that kind of stuff. But I think as a game, if check out and play, especially as the packing game that's pre-installed on it, it's the best tech demo I've ever played. It's a really good game. They make good games like the Astro Bot VR game. I never got a chance to play it, but everybody says it's phenomenal. And I regret now not going back to check that game out. I know I can still do it, but I have to go on and get my adapter for the PS5 for the camera. But yeah, I'd love it if they just got their own game. These I can't remember who made it, but it's the same people that made the VR game in this game. But yeah, they a lot of the nods, like a lot of the stuff is like it's basically just like let's look back at the history of the PlayStation. It's like, and there's like some of the collectibles are like, you can find the old PlayStation Eye is the thing in there, or like the original. Each level is like a kind of a look back and like going through like the history of PlayStation. Like one of those PlayStation 1 stuff, PS2 stuff, PS3 stuff, PS4 stuff, and there's cool like little like there's like one level you find the PSP Go, and it's like they have like little funny comments at the bottom where it's like, it doesn't even have a UMD drive. It's just like little like subtle nods. Yeah, like it's like as a gamer you get it. And there's like really like and like there's like cool like you see other like bots doing stuff in the background. Like you'll find like there's a Final Fantasy 7 nod. There's a Death Stranding little nod. Like there's like cool little things like, and there's a shit ton like where I didn't even get the reference. But there's so much love put into that game that like I was like watching somebody like a YouTube video on there going through a lot of like what those ones mean. And it's like these people are like the hardcore PlayStation fans are like, I don't even know what some of these meant. I had to go look them up myself to find out what some of these like were like talking about. So this game, it's just a bottle of love for PlayStation, which is really cool. I've had all the PlayStations, but I'm like, I really wasn't a PlayStation guy. I still don't consider myself a PlayStation guy, really up till like, but like for being a PlayStation being my main console, PS4 was my first time that being my main console. So yeah, it's phenomenal. It's really really good. So like, I mean, if you get a PS5, you're gonna have it, and I would recommend checking that thing out because not only does it show you what the PS5, the DualSense, can do. It's just actually it's a really good game on top of that. So yeah, really good game. Tells you something where like I need to check out Sackboy, the game I paid $60 for. I'm gonna play this free game I got instead. Not like I said, I'm not dissing Sackboy just because I haven't given it its chance. But after playing 3 levels of Sackboy and playing 1 level of Astro's Playroom, I was like, I want to go play more Astros. So yeah, that game is so good. But I think that's gonna do it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, check us out on all those places: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all those. We're on everything. Any Android device, anything, we're on them. Check them out. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. Really would appreciate it. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, stay safe, have yourself a fun time gaming, and most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. Few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so
Go on there and check us out. And if you like us, leave us a review. And we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.